This past weekend at the D23 Expo, Pixar made some incredible announcements. Whether you're a fan of original movies, The Incredibles, Cars, Toy Story, Monsters Inc., Inside Out, or countless other Pixar favorites, there is bound to be something for you in last weekend's reveals between new movies, Disney Plus series, short films, and theme park attractions. In this Pixar news video, I will break down all of last weekend's Pixar announcements that audiences will be seeing over the next several months and years. Starting off with perhaps the biggest and most surprising announcement. Incredibles 3 is in the works with Brad Bird back to direct it. The film does not currently have a release date, and there are no details on its plot or cast. However, with Brad Bird being back to direct the film, it could be assumed that he will reprise the voice of the iconic superhero fashion designer, Edna Mode. I would wager that Incredibles 3 will release in June 2028, a decade after Incredibles 2, and nearly 24 years after the original, as Pixar Chief Creative Officer Pete Docter has mentioned that the studio aims to release a sequel every other year. And 2028 would continue that trend after Inside Out 2 in 2024 and Toy Story 5 in 2026. Pixar recently slated an untitled film for June 18, 2027. And I think they would have said if they anticipate Incredibles 3 being that film when they announced it, given they've already marked the date and it was reported on in the entertainment news about a week before D23. The fact that they have not announced a release date, well, I'm sure they internally know when they want it to release, I think is a good sign in that it shows they need to get this right, and they don't want to commit to a specific date that results in rushing it. However, there is the potential concern of actors like Craig T. Nelson, the voice of Mr. Incredible, and Samuel L. Jackson, the voice of Frozone, getting old. So waiting too long gets risky if they don't want to recast these actors nor write these characters out. While Pete Docter has been hinting over the past several months at the future of the Incredibles franchise, I certainly didn't expect the film to be officially announced so quickly, although it makes sense as this is one of the few Pixar franchises for which a sequel could still work and be a massive hit. And Disney really wants to appease their shareholders with sequel announcements. As for better or worse, sequels inherently have higher odds of being hits than original films, and Disney has not had the greatest few years at the box office recently. Speaking of original movies, a brand new original movie has been slated for theaters to release on March 6, 2026. The official synopsis reads, "What if you could talk to animals and understand what they're saying?" In Disney and Pixar's all-new feature film Hoppers, scientists have discovered how to hop human consciousness into lifelike robotic animals, allowing people to communicate with animals as animals. The adventure introduces Mabel, an animal lover who seizes an opportunity to use the technology, uncovering mysteries within the animal world that are beyond anything she could have imagined. Directed by Daniel Chong and produced by Nicole Paradis-Grindle, Hoppers features the voices of Piper Curda, Bobby Moynihan, and John Hamm. The film opens exclusively in theaters in 2026. I think this film sounds like a really intriguing idea and is one I'm definitely looking forward to. It should be noted that despite the title, this movie is of no relation to the villain of A Bug's Life, though I would love for a Hopper Easter egg somewhere in the movie as a joke for fans of the 1998 movie. A piece of concept art was released showing a beaver running from a scientist. There is also leaked footage from the D23 Expo that does look very fun. However, I will note that I will not be including this leaked footage in the news video in case Disney decides to take it down on DMCA grounds. Next summer, the long-delayed Elio, who even had a teaser trailer released over a year ago, is slated to hit theaters on June 13, 2025. The official synopsis reads, "For centuries, people have called out to the universe looking for answers. In Disney and Pixar's all-new feature from Elio, the universe calls back." The cosmic misadventure introduces Elio, a space fanatic with an active imagination and a huge alien obsession. So when he's beamed up to the Communiverse, an interplanetary organization with representatives from galaxies far and wide, Elio is all in it for the epic undertaking. Mistakenly identified as Earth's leader, Elio must form bonds with eccentric alien life forms, navigate a crisis of intergalactic proportions, and somehow discover who and where he is truly meant to be. Directed by Madeline Sharafian, of the writer and director of the Burroughs Spark short, Domi Shi, writer and director of the Bao short and Turning Red, and Adrian Molina, the co-screenwriter and co-director of Coco, and produced by Mary Alice Drum, the associate producer of Coco. The film features the voices of Zoe Saldana as Aunt Olga, Brad Garrett as Lord Gregon, Jamila Jamil as Ambassador Cuesta, and Jonas Kibrayov as the title character. Elio releases in theaters June 13th, 2025. Notably, I had speculated that she was directing Elio in a prior Pixar news video. You can find the link to that in the description below and card suggestion in the top right corner. When I saw the teaser trailer last summer, I thought the movie looked really good, but the film would later be delayed by over a year, and then came rumors of production issues. But people have assumed the dual writers and actors strike in the summer of 2023 to be the culprits of the delay, as studios pushed films back to ensure they would not have large gaps in their releases from filming not being worked on for several months. That may not be the full story. No Pixar employees have publicly stated that there have been production issues, and Pete Docter attributed the delay as being due to the strikes in a recent interview, but the question lingers. Are the rumors false? Were they initially planning on releasing a subpar movie and only used the strikes as a reason to fix its issues? Or is the film going to get delayed no matter what, but the strikes gave them cover to not publicly admit so? There does seem to be quite a bit of evidence to say that the rumors have at least some credibility. I can only see them releasing a subpar movie knowing it wasn't a great movie if Disney's bean-counting executives refused to grant a delay, but only granted Pixar's wish for a delay to fix the film's issues because they knew the strikes would require a lot of changes for their slate. For starters, there has been a pretty major change in directors. Docter has stated that Molina is off the movie and working on a top priority project that has not been announced yet. But if the movie is mostly done, that does not explain what happens next. Sharafi and Shia are brought on board to direct, where the new synopsis alone tells us some of the new changes. Elio now has an aunt Olga, and his mother, whose name is also Olga, now has no mention in the synopsis. On top of that, Docter has confirmed that America Ferrera, the voice of the mom, has dropped out of the movie due to scheduling issues, and Aunt Olga is being voiced by Zoe Saldana. This implies that Elio's mom has been written out of the movie and replaced by his aunt, which begs the question of why this change happened. If the film's delay was due to the strikes and not production issues, why are they not only replacing the protagonist's mom with his aunt, but needing to recast her actress? If the changes were minor and only required a small amount of new lines, there should not have been a recast due to scheduling issues. I also wonder if the movie will now have Elio have one or both of his parents deceased. The synopsises from now and a year ago are also slightly different in what they say about Elio in the plot. The original synopsis does not mention Elio's alien obsession, and also mentions that Elio is unprepared for the pressure of being Earth's ambassador to the universe and must survive a series of formidable trials. The new synopsis mentions that Elio must navigate a crisis of intergalactic proportions. This sounds like he is implying that there were previous issues getting the protagonist to resonate or connect with audiences. Obviously, a movie in which the protagonist can't connect with audiences may struggle to be a great movie, and having this be an issue a year ahead of release for a movie that's been worked on for several years is a major problem. Docter has also tried to clarify his statements on no longer making personal projects and being more towards directors who are unable to let go of their life story for the good of the movie if the movie's plot needs to diverge. And I'm wondering if he was thinking of Elio when he said this, if the film's production issues were caused by this. I am really hopeful that the changes to Elio for the best, and that this film will be the original IP success that Pixar needs. While Elio may be considered a wild card as to whether it will be a hit or not, as audiences tend to by and large stick with what they're familiar with for theater visits, which tends to be sequels, and that's not to mention the aforementioned production issues with the film that may still linger in the final film if a year was not enough to rectify them. But when people complain that there's too many sequels, yet are only willing to see sequels in the theaters, for better or worse, that's how we get Toy Story 5. The official synopsis reads, "The toys are back in Disney and Pixar's Toy Story 5, and this time around, it's toy meet tech. Buzz, Woody, Jessie, and the rest of the gang's job gets exponentially harder when they go head-to-head with this all-new threat to playtime." Directed by Andrew Stanton, co-directed by McKenna Harris, and produced by Jessica Choi, Toy Story 5 opens only in theaters on June 19th, 2026. This is a premise that sounds like it can be very interesting and very relevant to today's kids. I'm also glad to see that Stanton is directing the movie, as he was a writer in the first four and was the writer and director of Finding Nemo, WALL-E, and Finding Dory. The fact that he has directed two really good Pixar movies and has an established history with the Toy Story franchise makes me reluctantly confident in the fifth film. I say reluctantly because I thought that Toy Story 4 was a significant step down from the original trilogy, even though I enjoyed it for what it was. Pixar also released new concept art from the movie, showing Slinky, Rex, Ham, Jessie, Bullseye, Buzz, and Forky feeling sad as they see Bonnie under the covers watching her iPad. While a concept with a lot of potential, I also have concerns by the depiction of both Woody and Forky in the image. At the end of Toy Story 4, Woody and Buzz go their separate ways as Woody chooses to live life as a lost toy with Bo Peep. But in this concept art, he's back at Bonnie's. The question is, why did Woody come back? The film will need a really good in-universe justification to undo the ending of the fourth film, and I don't know what they can do. We know that this will be at least 1 year after Toy Story 4, because the mid-credits scene in which Karen Beverly, Forky's plastic knife counterpart, appears is when Bonnie starts first grade. But the question is, how long will it be between that scene and when Woody returns? I have seen some people speculate that it's a flashback, but I don't think it is, because Forky was created at the beginning of Toy Story 4. Woody left at the end of Toy Story 4, and they were only together in Bonnie's bedroom for one night in the entire movie, and Bonnie was not playing with an iPad at any point in Toy Story 4. Stanton also revealed at D23 that one obstacle the toys will face is an army of 50 Buzz Lightyear toys that are stuck in the play mode, which sounds like a fun concept. The theme of kids playing with their toys versus technology was also covered in the TV special, Toy Story The Time Forgot, which I really enjoyed, but I think Toy Story 5 is likely to go a bit more in-depth in it, especially with the technology being portable instead of requiring a TV, and using toys we've known, many of them for 3 decades, as opposed to the Battlesores who have never been played with before. Pixar also released a promotional video unveiling the logo. However, it should be noted that all animations in the video are old. The alien being lifted by the claw is a toolkit animation from Toy Story 3 in 2010, and the animations of Woody, Buzz, and Jessie were created for the Apple Watch in 2017. Overall, I would say that I'm cautiously optimistic for Toy Story 5, but not without some concerns. Surely, all the emotions are being felt at this point. Some people may be feeling joy for the upcoming original movies. Others may feel anxious for Toy Story 5. And some may even feel angry that a sequel to their favorite movie was not announced. Of course, it's no surprise with Inside Out 2 now being either the highest grossing or second highest grossing animated movie ever, not adjusted for inflation, depending on how you feel about the 2019 remake of The Lion King in terms of whether it's animated or live action. And the highest grossing movie is 2024, that Inside Out has a new project coming very soon to Disney+. As I previously revealed based on employees' LinkedIn profiles in a prior Pixar news video, and that Pete Docter has talked about in interviews in another video, both videos have links in the description below. A spin-off series set in between the two Inside Out feature films called Dream Productions is coming in 2025 to Disney+. There will be 4 episodes, however it is unclear what the runtime of each episode will be. Notably, the 5 original emotions will be in the series and reprised by their Inside Out 2 voice actors. The synopsis reads, from the world of Inside Out comes Dream Productions, an all-new Disney Plus series about the studio inside Riley's mind where dreams really do come true. Every night, on time, and on budget. Thanks to acclaimed director Paula Persimmon, voice of Paula Pell. Riley's growing up and her core emotions are on the job helping her navigate, but now Paula is facing a nightmare of her own. Her signature combination of dreams featuring Rainbow Unicorn and copious amounts of glitter just isn't working anymore. To try and save her career, Paula teams up with Zenny, voice of Richard Ayoade, an overly competent daydream director looking for his next big break. With differing visions on what makes Riley's dream successful, can the reluctant pair come together to create the next big tween dream hit? Written and directed by Mike Jones and produced by Jacqueline Simon, Pixar Animation Studios' hilarious mockumentary-style series debuts on Disney Plus in 2025. As for other cast members, Kensington Tallman will reprise her role as Riley from Inside Out 2, Maya Rudolph will voice Jean, and Ali Maki will voice Janelle. Notably, all the actors voicing the new characters have worked with Pixar recently. Richard Ayoade voiced one of the Jerrys in Soul, and although technically not Pixar, he voiced Declan in Season 2 of Monsters at Work. Maya Rudolph voiced Luca's mom in Luca, and Ali Maki voiced Giggle McDimples in Toy Story 4. Paula Pell is reprising her role as Paula, the dream director from the first film. The series sounds really fun and a very interesting idea. When it was announced, I expected it to just be a series of shorts about the making of Riley's dreams, almost like a Blu-ray bonus feature, except it's showing the production of fictional content within a piece of fictional content. To have the plot being about the dream director need to save her career was not a twist I was expecting. Pixar also revealed one piece of concept art for the series, and they showed the first episode of the D23. Speaking of Inside Out 2, the movie hits digital release on August 20th and Blu-ray and DVD release on September 10th. Bonus features will include 2 behind-the-scenes featurettes and 5 deleted scenes. The titles and descriptions of these bonus features will be placed on screen, and you can pause the video to read them. Notably, Inside Out 2 will be the first Pixar movie whose Blu-ray and DVD will be distributed by Sony Pictures Home Entertainment at initial release under a new deal that Disney and Sony reached a few months ago. Unfortunately, the 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray will only be available in the US as a limited edition steelbook. Availability may be different in other countries. However, it is not limited to being exclusive at any retailers in the US. However, unless Disney and Sony decide to reissue it or give it a wide release later on, it will be gone once it is sold out. So if you want the movies on 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray, I'd recommend to buy it as soon as it hits stores or to pre-order it. The 4K Blu-ray of Elemental last year was also limited edition and was sold out by Thanksgiving, so I'd expect the same with Inside Out 2, given that it is much more popular than Elemental. There is not currently a release date set for Disney Plus for the movie. When a studio makes a movie, it is always a big financial risk. Sometimes they win the title of being one of those popular movies of the year, like Disney and Pixar did with Inside Out 2. Other times, they swing hard and miss, and lose a lot of money at the end of the season, like Disney and Pixar did a couple of years ago with Lightyear. Up next to bat, of course, is Pixar's first original series, Win or Lose, coming to Disney Plus on December 6th of this year. The trailer has been released to the general public. The synopsis reads, Win or Lose, Pixar Animation Studios' first ever original series, follows the intertwined stories of 8 different characters as they prepare for their big championship softball game. The series reveals what it actually feels like to be in the shoes of each character, the insecure kids, their helicopter parents, even a lovesick umpire, with incredibly funny, very emotional, and uniquely animated perspectives. Directed, written, and executive produced by Carrie Hobson and Michael Yates, and produced by David Lowley, Win or Lose begins streaming on Disney Plus December 6, 2024. Win or Lose, in my opinion, follows a very interesting premise that is different from anything that Pixar has ever done before. Looking at the trailer, the animation style is very unique, with expressive faces, anime-inspired graphics, and even one episode that seems to be inspired by cardboard cutout animations. It seems to build on the facial style established in Luca, and continues as Turning Red, built on the visual aesthetic of Luca with stylized graphics throughout the film. Inside Out 2 also featured a brief sequence of cardboard-style animation. Notably, this series completed production in July 2023. That's right, over a year ago, and has just been sat on, likely due to spreading out content due to the strikes. However, unlike Elio, it doesn't seem like they made any changes during this time period. Notably, if the Dream Productions and Win or Lose series are unsuccessful, Pixar will stop making Disney Plus series. At least in-house, that is, as they can outsource the Disney television animation like they did with Monsters at Work. Pete Docter has said that their prior Disney Plus series, including Forky Has a Question, Dug Days, and Cars on the Road, have not performed well, and that they will be returning their focus to theatrical feature films if their upcoming series do not break this pattern. Notably, Pixar recently had another round of significant layoffs earlier this year. As a sign of how bad Disney Plus numbers for their series have been, Steve Purcell, the writer and executive producer of Cars on the Road, who also co-directed Brave and wrote and directed Toy Story The Time Forgot, was laid off at the same time as Lightyear director Angus MacLane and producer Galen Sussman. While figures of viewership of Cars on the Road were never publicly released from Disney+, it can be assumed it was really bad from the public figures of the disastrous run of Lightyear at the box office, given that Purcell was laid off at the same time as MacLane and Sussman. Pixar uses 3D animation to make their movies and shorts, which involves building sets and characters using 3D models in a computer. Other animation studios do this too, and some of them have even made movies set around LEGO. And now, it seems that Pixar has decided to rebuild some of their iconic movie sets and characters out of LEGO in their computers for a new collection of Pixar short films called Bricktoons in a new collaboration with LEGO. Oddly, Pixar hasn't even confirmed these shorts' existence outside of a D23 panel, specifically about them on the final night of the D23 Expo, in which Cars franchise creative director Jay Ward talked about the shorts. However, a press release from July 31st from Disney about upcoming Disney Princess content seems to indicate that the shorts, or at least one of them, will be released on Disney Plus in September 2024. There are 5 shorts confirmed to be in the series, set in the franchises of Finding Nemo, The Incredibles, Cars, Brave, and Coco. The panel description on the D23 website says that these are extending Pixar stories, indicating that these are new stories featuring our favorite characters. Stitch Kingdom, a Twitter, or now called X user, was at the panel and live tweeted it, releasing some images and saying that Jason Lee will be back to voice Syndrome. The Incredibles episode seems to be about the Parr family getting pizza from Pizza Planet. Notably, in 2018, a LEGO The Incredibles video game was released and has a Pizza Planet in the free-run mode.
What's with all the slow traffic? Don't they know I've got a city to save?
Cars episode features Lightning McQueen appearing to wear monster truck tires at the winner's podium at an event sponsored by Vitaline, but made her on the side. I wonder if the Cars episode took inspiration from some of the old Cars video games. The other episodes are too ambiguous from the images released to get a sense of what they are about. These shorts sound like a really fun way to revisit some Pixar franchises on what is likely a smaller budget, as LEGO may allow the lighting and models not be as detailed as Pixar normally makes their movies and shorts. While Pixar builds out Radiator Springs and the Land of the Dead in LEGO form for new animated short films, a different division is also building them, but using tangible construction materials in Florida and California. 2 new Cars attractions are coming to Frontierland at the Magic Kingdom and Walt Disney World in Orlando, Florida. The main attraction is described as a rally race through the mountains, in which you take on wild terrain as you race across the landscape, climbing mountain trails, dodging geysers, and, Mater's favorite, splashing through mud holes. There will also be another attraction geared towards the family, but details were not announced. They did not reveal how the ride will work, but based on concept art, I would not be surprised if it runs similarly to the Radiator Springs Racers at Cars Land or the Test Track at Epcot. The new Cars attractions will start construction in 2025. Over at Disney California Adventure in Anaheim, California, a new Coco attraction is slated to start construction in 2026. It will be the first ever theme park attraction from the movie, with the ride having to join Miguel on a trip to the lands of the dead. A skeletal cast of characters will be brought to life in a big way through the latest audio animatronics technology, and the ride will draw inspiration from beloved classics like Haunted Mansion and Pirates of the Caribbean. Concept art for the ride depicts this as a ride where riders get on a boat that floats through an area filled with animatronics. The final Disney Parks announcement is a new area at Hollywood Studios at Walt Disney World in Orlando, Florida, which will be themed after Monsters, Inc. This new land will feature a new roller coaster that will take riders through the door vault, just as Mike, Sully, and Boo did in the climax of the original film. This will also be the first ever suspended coaster at a Disney park. There will also be areas to explore Monstropolis, presumably with dining and retail inspired by Monsters, Inc. and Monster University. It can be assumed that character meet and greets with Mike and Sully will be featured. It is possible that Monsters at Work will see a presence as well, as the press release featured the line "Is Laughter Thereafter," which was only used in the spin-off TV show. There is no date for construction to begin, and it is unknown if there will be any additional attractions in the land beyond the door vault coaster, although I really hope there will be. This coaster does sound really fun, and I've always thought that scene from the movie would make for a great roller coaster. Notably, this will be the second Pixar-themed land at Hollywood Studios, which is also home to Toy Story Land. That rounds up all the 2024 D23 Expo announcements from Pixar. There were quite a few between new movies, shows, and theme park attractions. It was great getting new details and titles that have already been announced, finally getting release date for Win or Lose, and surprise announcements of Incredibles 3 and Monsters, Inc. Land. Let me know in the comment section below which of the new projects you're most looking forward to. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon for another video. Bye now.